Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your ultimate home for all things Liverpool FC. In today's episode, we've got massive breaking news, the real reason behind Marc Guehi's transfer collapse, Jurgen Klopp's bold claim about Florian Wirtz, a look at Liverpool's record-breaking young star, and the latest twist as Bellingham and Trent face a shocking Real Madrid snub. Plus, transfer buzz as Liverpool open talks for a new Bundesliga sensation. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Steve Parish explains real reason Marc Guehi, Liverpool transfer collapsed. Based on advice, Marc Guehi was on the cusp of a move from Crystal Palace to Liverpool. On transfer deadline, day before the move fell through. Chairman Steve Parish has claimed Crystal Palace's maiden season in Europe was the reason for pulling the plug on Captain Marc. Guehi's dream move to Liverpool. The Premier League champions had agreed a deal worth $35 million with Palace on transfer deadline day for the England international. The centre-back was given permission to undergo his medical in London on September 1st. However, the Eagles' attempts to replace their skipper fell through when Brighton and Hove Albion's Igor Julio chose a loan move to West Ham United over a switch to Selhurst Park. Reports also emerged on the night that head coach Oliver Glasner, who was desperate to keep Guehi, had threatened to leave had the talisman not stayed in South London. The proposed move to Anfield was cancelled as a result, and Liverpool are now expected to return next summer when the 25-year-old will be available on a free transfer. Parish has now revealed that the FA Cup holders' first-ever European campaign was the overriding reason for deciding to keep Guehi, who is now free to speak to clubs from outside of England from January 1st about a pre-contract deal. It's as simple as that. These things are never black and white. I decided in the end that, based on the advice that I got and with what I think, that we would have a better season if we kept Marc. We don't guess about these things. If you look at it rationally, if you look at what is worth the place in the Premier League, the fact that we're in the Conference League for the first time in our history, this is a fairly unusual set of circumstances in which to keep a player. If we were fighting between the difference of 10th and 14th, if that was going to be the difference between keeping Marc and letting Marc go, then probably we would have said, right, we should take the money. Jurgen Klopp makes huge Florian Wirtz claim amid Liverpool's struggles. Florian Wirtz has endured a difficult start to his Liverpool career, but he has no bigger fan than former Reds boss Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp has responded to the criticism of Florian Wirtz following his summer move to Liverpool, describing him as a once-in-a-century talent. Wirtz joined the Reds from Bayer Leverkusen in the summer for a then-record $116 million fee, but the 22-year-old has endured an underwhelming start, failing to return a goal or assist in his first 7 appearances. He was left out of the starting lineup by Arne Slot in the Premier League champions' last match, coming on as a second-half substitute in a 2-1 defeat to Chelsea. Wirtz has found himself in the firing line for some fans and pundits as his performance levels have been brought into question, but former Liverpool manager Klopp is in no doubt whatsoever that his compatriot will soon come good at Anfield. Speaking to RTL and NTV whilst watching a paddle tournament in Mallorca as per goal, Klopp said, "I don't have to worry about Florian Wirtz because his quality is so outstanding. Of course, everything is fine, and everyone knows that. The discussion is certainly being blown out of proportion. Liverpool have just lost 3 games in a row. It's unusual for something like that to happen after such a long time. But it's also normal in life. That's why these things are discussed. I've been in the middle of such discussions long enough now, and I can tell you nothing could interest people less than the public discussions that are taking place there. So it doesn't matter, and everything will be fine." Liverpool won their opening 6 matches of the season but put in a string of unconvincing performances and have since suffered back-to-back last-minute Premier League defeats against Crystal Palace and Chelsea, either side of a Champions League reversal at the hands of Galatasaray. The form of Wirtz remains a contentious issue, but Klopp is in no doubt that the German international will show his true colors sooner rather than later, describing him as a once-in-a-century talent. And at some point, he'll show that in every game again, as he did at Leverkusen. Klopp added, "Wirtz has a stable environment at Liverpool, and the club is great in moments like these. If anyone's worried, you don't have to. You can stop. Liverpool returned to Premier League action on Sunday, October 19th, when they host bitter rivals Manchester United at Anfield. Liverpool signed Best Young Player in World in club record transfer. A number of Liverpool players were named in 442's Top 100 Young Players of 2001. However, the list has not aged well. Liverpool's academy has produced some incredible players during the Premier League era. Stephen McManaman, Robbie Fowler, Jamie Carragher, Michael Owen, and Steven Gerrard famously all starred for the Reds after bursting onto the scene in the 90s. Fast forward to the present day, and while Trent Alexander-Arnold and Eamon Kelleher, Jarell Quansah have gone, Liverpool still have Curtis Jones and Connor Bradley as key members of their first-team squad. However, the Reds Academy hasn't always been the gold mine it is today. Throughout the noughties, it was regularly rude how Gerrard remained the last graduate to become a key first-team player. Considering how fruitful the 90s had been, mentioned alongside Manchester United's class of '92, onlookers were baffled at Liverpool's failure to unearth the next Gerrard, Owen, or Carragher. In the end, it took multiple changes behind the scenes, overseen by the likes of Rafa Benitez and Brendan Rodgers, before the Reds truly got back on path under Klopp. But that didn't prevent Liverpool from boasting a number of highly rated youngsters that ultimately didn't quite live up to expectations during their barren run. And 442's list of the 100 best players in world football in 2001 demonstrates this extremely well. 6 Reds players featured in the list, with all placing in the top 40 and 2 in the top 10. Meanwhile, 3 future Liverpool players would make up the top 5. With 1 future academy signing taking their overall contingent to 10. Yet, looking back, only one of those can actually claim to have actually been one of the best stars of their generation. A number of the greatest players of the 21st century feature among the list. But when you consider 2007 Ballon d'Or winner Kaká, who lifted both the World Cup and Champions League during his illustrious playing career, only placed 95th, you have an idea about the direction we're about to take. Congratulations, Kaká! Back in 2001, you were rated higher than Alexander-Arnold, David Prutton, Erdal Killicaslan, Daniel Seaman, and Benjamin Auer. Don't worry, we can't recall that latter trio either. Alas, Sean Maloney and Kieran Richardson both placed higher than the legendary Brazilian in places 191. Breaking into the 80s, we have our first future Liverpool player, Ramon Caliste, then of Manchester United. He won the FA Youth Cup with the club in 2003, but left the Red Devils for the Reds in 2005 and was the reserve's top goal scorer in 2005-06. The Welshman joined Scunthorpe United after just 1 season, on the advice of national team manager John Toshak, but badly dislocated his ankle in his first preseason. That injury ensured he could never live up to his early potential and forced him to walk away from the game. Working our way down the list, you can spot the recognizable names of Dimitar Berbatov at 82nd, Michael Essien at 78th, and championship manager legend Cherno Samba at 71st. Liverpool were actually once in talks to sign the striker from Millwall, even tabling a $1.5 million bid only to fail to agree a deal with the Lions. The move fell through, and Samba never lived up to his potential, with that collapsed transfer to Anfield ultimately sending him on a downward spiral. Ex-Liverpool star urges Arne Slot to make key transfer after Mohamed Salah verdict. Mohamed Salah was the unluckiest of the 4 nominees to miss out on the 2025 Ballon d'Or, according to former Liverpool winger Ryan Babel, who also named his dream signing for the Reds. Ryan Babel has suggested that political reasons may have been behind Mohamed Salah's failure to secure the 2025 Ballon d'Or award. The former Liverpool star also expressed his belief that Barcelona midfielder Frenkie de Jong would be a perfect fit for Arne Slot's squad. Salah, who had an impressive run last season with 34 goals in all competitions, including 31 in the Premier League, finished 4th in the recent Ballon d'Or awards. Paris Saint-Germain forward Ousmane Dembélé took home the coveted prize. Dembélé was ranked higher than Barcelona's Lamine Yamal, his PSG teammate Vitinha, and then the Egyptian international, who was absent from the Liverpool team present at the Théâtre du Châtelet on the night in Paris. Despite Liverpool's triumphant Premier League campaign, where they clinched the title by a comfortable 10-point margin, their last 16 exit to PSG on penalties in the Champions League may have influenced the overall voting. Babel, however, believes that Salah should have been crowned the 2025 winner. In an interview with 365 Scores, the ex-Netherlands international questioned why Liverpool's number 11 missed out. "I don't know why Mohamed Salah didn't win the Ballon d'Or," said Babel, who played for Liverpool between 2007 and 2011. "Maybe he lost it for political reasons, but in my personal opinion, he really deserves it, based on what he has done with the team in the past period. I think Frenkie de Jong is a Barcelona midfielder who can add a lot to Liverpool. He's a world-class player, and any team would be lucky to have him. I hope to see de Jong with Liverpool one day." On Slot and his predecessor Jurgen Klopp, Babel added, "I think coach Arne Slot has proven that he has added great value with his distinctive style of play with the team. He won the Premier League title last season, and now he has to continue to build and develop. He has a great personality and a different distinctive style. The two coaches cannot be compared to each other, because Slot only started his second season with Liverpool, while Jurgen Klopp spent several seasons. It is possible to judge Slot when he spends longer, so we have to wait several years to do a fair analysis. No one knows exactly what is the reason behind the recent decline in the performance and results of the Liverpool team in the recent period, but it is normal for the team to go through a difficult season after a successful and big season. We have to wait for a new period to see if the team will get through this ordeal or not, but I am confident that they can come back and improve their performance." Babel scored the winning goal for Liverpool legends on Saturday as they beat their Chelsea counterparts 1-0 at Stamford Bridge. Jude Bellingham and Trent Alexander-Arnold suffer alarming Real Madrid snub, Real Madrid's English duo. Jude Bellingham and Trent Alexander-Arnold teamed up in the summer after the latter chose to leave boyhood club Liverpool to sign for the La Liga giants Real Madrid and England stars. Jude Bellingham and Trent Alexander-Arnold have both been snubbed for next year's club calendar. The duo have been close friends since representing the Three Lions together. It is believed that Bellingham helped to convince Alexander-Arnold to move to the Bernabeu. This would ultimately cause friction between Alexander-Arnold and the Liverpool fan base, as he chose not to extend his contract at the end of last season. While he was due to leave for free and join Real Madrid in June, Los Blancos ended up paying 8.4 million to release the fullback from his contract early so he could feature at the Club World Cup. Since his switch to Spain, Alexander-Arnold has struggled to adapt to his new club as quickly as Bellingham managed. After a couple of underwhelming starts, the former Liverpool man picked up a hamstring injury 5 minutes into the Champions League clash against Marseille. Since then, the fullback has been sidelined in the treatment room. Bellingham has also endured issues with his health this year. In the summer, he undertook shoulder surgery, meaning he missed the first 4 matches of the La Liga season. Since returning, he has yet to pick up a goal or an assist. Now both men will be questioning why they have been snubbed in the official Real Madrid calendar. Priced at $10.99 at the Calendar Club, the product features a number of real stars, including Thibaut Courtois, Vinicius Jr., and Kylian Mbappe. However, Bellingham is nowhere to be seen, despite featuring in the 2025 edition. Alexander-Arnold's admission could be due to the timing of his arrival from Liverpool. However, Dean Huijsen, who arrived on the same day as him, does feature in the calendar. Huijsen's inclusion could be due to him agreeing his move in the middle of May, slightly earlier than Alexander-Arnold. While not the be-all and end-all for players, inclusions in calendars are usually a good sign of where the club sees a player's status. For Bellingham and Alexander-Arnold, it is an alarming snub at a time when both men are trying to find their feet this season. Join our new WhatsApp community and receive your daily dose of Mirror Football content. We also treat our community members to special offers, promotions, and adverts from us and our partners. If you don't like our community, you can check out anytime you like. Liverpool open talks to sign Bundesliga star Liverpool explorer Nico Schlotterbeck. Deal as Guehi pursuit stalls new center-back options. Emerged team talk report that Liverpool have held initial and positive talks over the signing of a Borussia Dortmund star in a potential clue a second deal is not happening? That Star is 25-year-old Nico Schlotterbeck, a left-footed Germany international who has been named in 3 of the last 4 Bundesliga teams of the season and collected 22 caps over the past 4 years. Liverpool's summer transfer window was lauded as near flawless. The arrivals of Florian Wirtz and Alexander-Arnold both smashed the British transfer record, significantly strengthening the spine of Arne Slot's side. The only frustration was the failure to complete a deal for Marc Guehi on deadline day. Giovanni Leone's ACL injury has only sharpened focus on that position. Guehi remains admired, and with his Crystal Palace contract expiring next summer, Liverpool still hope to secure him on a free. However, Team Talk note that Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and Real Madrid have all joined the chase, with Bayern already opening talks with his camp. Schlotterbeck talks suggest strategic shift Liverpool are not waiting passively. As Team Talk outline, they have also shown interest in Bayern's Dayot Upamecano while opening early dialogue with Schlotterbeck's representatives regarding a 2026 move. Those talks are described as positive, signaling realistic pursuit rather than speculative scouting. This approach contrasts sharply with how the club handled the Isak saga. Team Talk recall Fabrizio Romano's claim that Liverpool resisted the temptation to open talks with alternative strikers, believing Isak was the perfect fit. Had that deal collapsed, the club would not have signed anybody, already having Hugo Ekitike as backup. With Guehi, Liverpool are behaving differently. Team Talk state that, in Guehi's case, Liverpool are already making noise around both Upamecano and now Schlotterbeck. The suggestion is clear. Liverpool want Guehi, but they are unwilling to wait if his camp entertains rival offers. Centre-back strategy. Taking shape. Team Talk clarify that it's important to stress Guehi remains Liverpool's favored option at centre-back. However, if Ibrahima Konate departs when his contract expires, 2 central defenders may be required. Slot and the recruitment team appear to be preparing for that possibility. Schlotterbeck offers something unique, a ball-playing left-footer comfortable in possession and dominant in aerial duels. While interest is still at an exploratory stage, the tone of Team Talk's reporting indicates genuine intent rather than curiosity. Liverpool's hierarchy may be subtly signaling to Guehi's camp that hesitancy will not be tolerated.